I'll be eating beef today. Thanks for the last.
I mean, this is a banger right here. I don't know who made it, but well, cheers, friends and family. It's From Behind the Barcast, the podcast for bartending, service industry, drinking in general. I am Paxton.
Paxton Mahomes.
Pax Mahomes. We have Clint King, and we have Sunset Kelly on the ones and twos, who does indeed like titties.
Yes.
That was a mistake for me last week, and I apologize.
And the week before. you keep really just...
Well, when he woke up one morning and saw the title of it, he goes, you titled the podcast?
Sat straight up in bed.
That'll wake you up.
Yeah.
Well, I love them!
Well, let's do this cheers real quick for Vince King. That was
Vince
good.
King.
That was
Vince King.
That was a lot of...
We are drinking Miller Lite, not in a bottle because... Not in a bottle. Vince was a bottle connoisseur.
Yes, and we will talk about that in a few minutes. So I went and got because I didn't want to drink Miller Lite all night because I have the bladder of an 8-year-old. So I just bought this big 40-ounce can of Miller, and it does not taste bad, actually.
I got the 16-ounce tall boys. Do you know why? Because it was the same cost as a 12-pack of 12 ounces, and I was like, well...
Really?
Duh. The thing is, I usually buy 12-ounce cans because I'm going to take that beer with me because I can cook with them. Because I can stick it up in the chicken's ass, you know?
Oh,
and
yeah.
he bought me this awesome beer can chicken holder. I'll have to bring a picture of it in, but it's like a metal chicken.
Yeah.
It looks like it's fucking the beer can.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty dope looking. It's very industrial. You know, he does like laser fabricating and stuff. So it's one of the companies, I guess, he helped fix their laser, but it's dope looking.
We'll see these sizes right here for turkeys and
yeah, for a beer can turkey
ostriches.
sounds okay.
And driveway beers right there.
Beer can ostrich. You stick the keg into a hand, like a pony keg.
Yeah, beer keg emu.
So we had a week on Tybee here, as we discussed last week. We lost our good friend Vince, father of Vinny, who used to be on the podcast with us.
Who used to be on the ones and twos here.
Yes. Yeah. And we couldn't really get into it much last week, but he unfortunately passed away kind of very suddenly. And it was a week on Tybee. It was a week for me. It was a week for a lot of people. It was a lot of love, a lot of stress, a lot of sadness, and a lot of just family and just warmth and love. And
I felt so much love and camaraderie in that particular sense, because there's a lot of times when people pass, you sort of skew the way of the sadness part of it. And what we had at Huckapoo's was a literal celebration of life, because
in the biggest sense of the word, because if you're not in the area, this is going to be a pretty Tybee oriented first segment. But Vince was very well known. He worked at North Beach Grill. He worked at many restaurants on Tybee.
Yeah.
So he had touched a lot of lives as a restaurant manager. And so it was gross as F on Friday. It was very gross. And this turnout was phenomenal. And the people that came together, the help, I kind of took on a lot of stuff for Vinny because my best friend. So I want to do what I could for him. And I put out a thing like, hey, I need some tents for the party at the house. And it was misunderstood in the best way that people brought tents also to Huckapoo's. So we covered the porch in tents.
So I got to Huckapoo's early with you to set up to make sure that everything would run. Came back home to get ready. And when I came back, shout out Cameron Starr.
Yes.
She goes, hey, should we put some tents out here, in case, people want to hang out and it might rain? I was like, yeah, throw a few tents.
Yeah.
When we came back,
the porch was covered in tents.
The porch was covered in tents.
One rug.
And one
rug.
One very nice rug under there. So we got up there and I was like, this is the best possible situation. And during the day, it rained a little bit, but nothing like it rained later on in the night. But we'll get to that part. So they put together Charlotte.
Mm-hmm. Charlotte and I did a slideshow.
put together this slideshow, and within the and you guys asked me to.
Yeah. I asked people for pictures, and I had 36 hours of pictures coming at me, and the response was overwhelming. And I had to. I mean, I spent hours going through these pictures to kind of get them in like a decent order, so they were all and like there was a lot of duplicates. People wanted people to be seen, and all the love and photo. And there's more photos of Vince King with people than are of me with, I think, my family.
Right, yeah.
Like, because he liked taking pictures. Yeah. And like, there was a period of my life where I was like, nope, out.
So, when you gave me the slideshow, it had already told a story, by the way. And this is something that most people don't understand. Like, you put together a slideshow, they're just slinging pictures in there. And this told a story. And the music that you guys asked me to put underneath it also vibed with the story.
When Ryan Usher passed away is when I learned this lesson. If you have a funeral and you're going to have a celebration of life, you're going to play music. It can't just be sad across the board. So I was like, because at Ryan Usher's funeral, we're all bawling.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, whoop, there it is. Or, something like a fun song comes on and it lightens up the mood some. Because it takes it from just, so my thing was like, we wanted family and his family and relatives and very closest friends in the first segment. And the second segment, I wanted to be pictures of Vince having fun.
Yes.
And partying. Because Vince loved to go out and drink and party and have a good time.
That was a huge part of it.
And so, Let's Go Crazy by Prince.
So right at the right cue, because they had sent me the slideshow and we had to trim some of the songs a little bit to make it flow with the narrative. Right when the first song and it's all family.
First Foo Fighter song of
Times Like These.
Yes.
The acoustic version. So not so sad in the way of like emoting sadness because these were old family pictures pretty much.
Yeah.
So then it gets to a point where it turns into all the super fun photos of Vince out having a good time.
It's like first picture was like me and Vince and Vinny hugging after the Braves won the World Series.
Let's go crazy.
Let's go crazy.
And almost serendipitously, some of the pictures would switch right on. And, I didn't have enough time to like make it where like everyone hit, but just luckily some of them would hit. And it was like, oh yeah, it was so indicative of how it felt sometimes.
Yeah,
to be hanging out and Prince, obviously amazing. So this thing's banging. So then
Vinny just said, look, just do a Foo Fighter song, do a Prince song, but it needs to end with Father and Son by Cat Stevens, which is that's it. I mean, that song talking about it makes me want to cry.
Look here,
and that's there ain't no mama song that makes you feel like Cat Stevens be hitting it.
I'm getting fucking chills right now because I was fine because I was so concentrated on like making sure the technology worked.
Yeah, because I was at one point. There's a lot of people on the Wi-Fi at the bar. I meant to go around and be like, "Hey, if you work here, get off the Wi-Fi for a minute, please." Because we had basically what I did was hook up with 3 TVs with the slideshow playing. So Paxton's on one TV with computer, Kyle's behind me on the other TV with AirPlay, and I'm using my tablet to cast his other TV. And in the middle of like Let's Go Crazy, mine froze. So I'm standing in the middle of the crowd holding my tablet in the air to kind of get it to like fully reconnect. And I gently like put it between the router and the TV and was like, and then I kind of stayed back. But when it was coming to Father and Son, I was like, I got to get over here with my boy and kind of creep up in the corner.
All 3 people doing the, starting the slideshow on the TVs, we had to be inside of each other so that we could all 3, 2, 1 start it at the same time.
Yeah.
And then I had the music separately on my phone because we had to play it through the house system, so it wasn't connected to the files of the slideshow, whatever. So I'm on Bluetooth and I'm kind of far away from the thing. Start the song. It cut like a tiny bit one time. Clint runs and grabs my phone and holds it.
I held it up for a minute and ran over and handed it to somebody, to baby Mike. I was like, hold this, please, right here. Don't touch it. Just hold it like this. He's like, okay.
So I'm sitting there.
I did a lot of like, it was packed. I'm talking, there hasn't been a Friday night I've seen like that in years. Yeah. And so I'm running through people. And I know 90% of them, some people were like, this guy is moving around. Because I was doing it all day.
I was barreling people. I didn't give a shit, man. So I'm over there sitting next to one of my oldest buddies, Billy the Nooch Pensura. Great guy. He and I are sitting there. I'm fine because concentrating on getting the tech stuff right. Here comes Father and Son. I completely broke.
I mean, me too. I went over there to me next to Vinny because I knew that song was coming. I took my glasses off because I knew it was about to just come. And like, before the song even started, I know it's coming, and I'm just starting to tear because when you sent me the file, you're like, hey, listen to this, make sure it times up. And I was like, sure thing, gonna vacuum while I'm doing it so I don't cry. So when like it got close father and son, I was like, first note, vacuum on, just to do something to distract myself. I knew it was going to be bad at the service. I didn't want to have to cry the night before too.
Yeah.
And I mean, there wasn't a dry eye in the house.
That song got over finally, and I had to step out just for a minute. Like, it's not that I don't mind crying in front of people or whatever. I just had to step the fuck outside for a second because I was not I was expecting to feel something, but I wasn't. You know, my father died a long time ago, but Cat Stevens / Yusuf Islam is one of my favorite, you know, like guitar singing artists. And Where Did the Children Play is one of my favorite songs. I play it on guitar all the time. And it took me to a place, and I thought about my father from that long ago and the things that he imparted on me. And I just,
I mean, when I didn't, my father got there, I think, during the slideshow right before it. I wasn't looking at anybody. I knew I was like, I need to just focus on this so I don't get caught up. And like, I'm crying just being next to Vinny, knowing what he's going through. And then I saw my dad afterwards and just lost it. But I was like, I love you. I'm so glad I did not see you while the song was playing because it would have been, I mean, somehow even more.
Yeah.
And I was over there with Vinny, his girlfriend Allie, Smoot, and Heather. So I've got like people to grab onto and like just squeeze. And thank God you can squeeze the shit out of Smoot. She don't care.
Shout out to Billy the Nooch Pincer.
And also no babies that were there. There were like 5 babies there. Even the babies were quiet during father and son. There was
Sarah Bacon brought in little Lukey, and I got to sit there and watch that bright-eyed little dude. It was very fulfilling. Father and son's on. Billy the Nooch Pincer is sitting next to me. I don't know if he saw the break start happening. I felt a hand get on my leg, and then another hand put on my back, and I was like, I love you.
You need that, man.
It meant everything, you know. And
when we Patreon, I'll tell you a story about riding out the Tybee with Vinny. I'll tell all of you the story, but I cannot tell this on the Platonic podcast. But like, because I'm driving with my best friend. His father just died. We've cried a bunch when I picked him up, but I have to get him to Tybee, and it's awkward to like hold on to your homeboy while you're driving down the high interstate, driving the highway at 65 miles an hour, trying to go fast but not too fast. And I'm like holding by the back of his neck. I'm like, that's weird. And I put my hand on his leg. I was like, this is super weird, but your pants are soft. And then like, then we talk some, and like I kind of distract. I'm good at distracting myself and others. But it was a hell of a service, and it was great. It was great. And Vinny sung "There Goes My Hero" before we did the slideshow, and he couldn't play the guitar, but he had someone else play it, and the whole bar is just.
I'm getting chills again right now because
I had to go stand next to my sister because I couldn't be over there on him, and I had to just get next to her because I sat up on the bar. Huge mistake at 41 years old.
Yeah, right.
Because like people were like piled everywhere, so I was like, I need to be able to see him while he was doing his talking.
Yeah.
We had a little signal of like, you're kind of dragging some because you'll go.
But he and Jessica did really well,
very well.
And I went and talked to him after.
It's hard to speak it. I mean, I spoke at my mom's service, and I said I couldn't do it, and like it's hard. To get up there and like I was talking, and I had someone sitting where I could see them, and I could just stare at them to be like, I'm going the right way. Because like Vinny did, I wrote down a whole bunch of stuff, and I didn't hardly look at my notes. It comes.
Yeah.
But it was I gotta get at that part of this.
Yeah.
So Eric did a great job. We had to start the service a little early because the priest had to go somewhere, tea time, I guess, and. We did that part. Take
Conversion
a break.
Therapy.
Take a break, which was good. Everybody get a couple drinks. We'll do a hard start at 4. And continue on. And so everybody's milling around, hugging, and having a good time. And we do the service, and then we had set up tents and stuff at Vincent Angel's house. And I had got 4 different restaurants to bring food, and we had a ton of food. I want to say the chicken cacciatore from Lily's was probably my favorite. And I'm dealing with. I didn't want Vinny to have to do anything. I wanted to give me the load of what
you're like the wedding planner.
Yeah,
you know
and I'm good at organizing planning stuff. So I'm like, look, I'll do all this. So I'm trying to I get there and I'm doing stuff. And we came over and took like a 30-minute break, which was great. Then you can kind of recollect. So I'm trying to eat, but I'm like, I can't hold the plate. So I'm putting food in solo cups and just eating out of solo cups. And people are like, what are you drinking? Oh, I was like, chicken cacciatore. And if you ever want to have fun, make Creek Jesus say cacciatore. Cacciatore.
Also, shout out to Cocksburg Grill. because Stanford Ray, one of my favorite
I
musicians
love
here in
Stan.
town, the first time I ever heard him sing, he did this version of Try a Little Tenderness by Otis Redding, and it floored me. So he was scheduled to play at Cockspur that night. So Cockspur just shut down.
Because
And-
the owner of Cox, one of the owners of Coxper is
Yeah,
is a hostie. So
And they
Part of our family.
brought Stan Ray over to play, and they
we had a
shut-
bonfire that got really bonfiery for a little while there.
Yeah, towards the end, it was
We
like,
had to start backing the tents up.
yeah, we literally had. It was like we don't need that many pallets on there. And Creek Jesus Blake, I saw him over there stabbing it with a stick. I was like, I don't think that's how you do it.
But between you get drunk Creek Jesus and drunk Donald Wayne, the fire's just growing, and every beer the fire gets a little bit higher, and a little bit higher, and
But
like,
literally, we had to move the tents back like
but
every.
dude, the community just to come together, everything got set up. There were people that stayed there during the service to get the food there.
Yeah.
But like cleanup time comes, and it is just a whirlwind of everybody helping, and that's such a nice thing because then you don't want to leave anything for the family to take care of. Except for refrigerators full of leftovers. And it wasn't that much. There's a lot of people there. There's probably 150 people showed up at the house. 145 were invited. But it was good.
Well, I got home earlier than my roommate, and I woke up.
Shocking.
I woke up the next day, and there's this jug of sweet tea in the.
There was like 12 jugs of tea left over.
I was like, "That's what you took, a jug of sweet tea." Okay, I took a sip of it. It's stronger than Sisters of the New South sweet tea. You got to cut that shit with water, brother.
It's syrup. It came out like
It
syrup.
is literal
You
syrup.
turn it upside down. It takes a second for the liquid to kind of settle back on the bottom.
So let's talk about Vince because
Everybody's got a Vince story that's lived on this island and grown up out here. There's all kind of fun. So you've got a couple, and I've got one. So why don't you?
I'll start with
off?
one, and then we'll pass it back and forth. So a long time ago, when I was a young man, back in 2005, I really didn't know Vinny very well. He was in the periphery, but he and I had never been friends. I'm 6.
Yeah,
7
I'm 5, so you're 6. Yeah.
I'm 5, 6 years older than him, whatever. So he was in the periphery, but I didn't really know him. So me and a dumpy old buddy of mine, we went and applied at Fiddler's Crab House to get a job, and they hired us right away. They said, "Come in on Friday." I was like, "Oh, that kind of sucks." Like, I know how busy downtown restaurants are. So we get there, and it's Vince. He's their manager at that point. He goes, "You the new guys?" I was like, "Yeah, we're the new guys." Like Paxton, Corey. He's like, "Yeah, Pac. Did parents live on Tybee or whatever?" I was like, "Yeah." So we, sort of met that way. And he goes, "Well, I'm glad you guys are here because I'm trying to clean up this kitchen. We just fired a bunch of people, and we need people in here that aren't like smoking weed all day and doing drugs." And I was like, I looked at my buddy. I was like, "Should we tell him?"
Check one box for you. Anyway.
Should we tell him? No, I used to smoke weed back then.
well,
This is like
check a
2005. I was like 23, 24.
Before his first widespread panic attack.
Right. And so Corey, we looked at each other, and we were like, he might not have made the right decision. So we walk upstairs, and the guy, the kitchen manager's like, "Get behind the line, let's go." I was like, "Oh, so we're not training at all or anything like that?"
Good luck.
And then Vince comes up. He's like, "How are they doing?" They're like, they've been here 5 minutes. I guess I'll tell you.
Great.
I guess I'll tell you at the end of the shift. So I was like, and he was so cool to us because he was like, "Hey guys, want you to have a good time, but it's a serious restaurant, whatever." The very first time I went downstairs, I've told this story before too. The first time I went downstairs to grab a sweet tea for myself, I grabbed the sweet tea and I grabbed a giant lemon. And I was like, "Oh, I'm about to squeeze this lemon right into this sweet tea," because I was so thirsty. I didn't want to leave the line, right when I get there. So I was thirsty for like 3 hours. I squeezed that lemon, trying to squeeze it into the cup of sweet tea. The entirety of the juice
Pulp and all.
of the juice went into my eye. So that was when I first met Vince.
See, I don't, just because I've been here so long, like I don't even remember when I met Vince because things just kind of happened organically like that on time.
But you and Vinny had been friends.
We've kind of you know about like, when you're younger, you know who the older people are. When you're older, you don't even know who the younger people are until you kind of until the ages start to when age is not as big of a gap from 14 to 18 is a huge gap. But 18 to 22 is not that big of a gap.
Right, yeah,
And the older
yeah.
you get, the
You
smaller.
start getting in the
Yeah,
the
and
same
so
circle.
we kind of knew each other more. He knew my sister more because she's a year older than him, so they're closer in age. So they went
Gotcha.
to parts of school together and stuff. So like
Yeah.
I kind of technically met him through her. I got a good Patreon story about that one time. But over the years, you hang out with Vince, and you see Vince, and Vince would be often annoying. And everyone's experienced some of those annoying times. Vince, look, you're not speaking ill of the dead when you're telling the truth.
Yeah.
We're all annoying.
We're
okay?
all annoying.
It all happens. But Vince would get hammered drunk because the thing is, I worked downtown a lot. So when I would get to Tybee, it would be 11:30, and Vince has been off work for 2.5 hours. So he's had a head start. So like by 1, I'm like 2 drinks in, and most of the people at the bar are drunk, which is always kind of fun. Or even when like on a late night, walk in at 1, and like I've had to drive a car from downtown, so I've maybe had a glass of wine, and I walk in, and I'm like, you're like, oh God, you're here, and like, why are you wearing slacks? I'm like, look at the restaurant. I didn't want to go home and change.
Oh, the disparity between
Yeah.
the drunk and not drunk. Ugh.
Yeah. So Vince had a golf cart, a Georgia red golf cart, and Vince would drive it all around the island in places at times. He shouldn't have been driving most of the time,
Yeah.
but he would leave it with the keys in it on almost a regular basis, even though quite often people would take his golf cart to screw with him and move it somewhere. Like I would sometimes just turn it around. Vinny would take it all the time. And like, Vince's golf cart would get taken on joy rides. And one night I'm at the corner with a lady friend I was kind of hanging out with, and he was being exceptionally annoying that night at the corner. And I was like, you know what? I walked outside and was like, that key's in there. Want to go for a ride? She's like, sure. So we took this thing for a ride from the quarter all the way to Horsepin Point, where I live, which is about 1.5 miles from the quarter. And
you got to cross dangerous roads to get.
yeah, and I was stealing this thing, so I just rode down the side of the highway like I shouldn't have, and like just like and kind of got down there.
Yeah.
And I didn't think about this. You get down that road, you got to come back in this golf cart you've jacked, and like, what if the battery dies? So on the way, we go hang out for a little while on the dock or whatever, and I was like, let's take this golf cart back to close to their house. Well, we're getting there, and we're getting across the highway, and that golf cart starts slowing down. So
Starts losing a little of them
horsepower in there. So I got her to get out and push and become a gentleman. Equal rights, baby. No, so we get to like where I'm like, we're close enough. Let's just push it the rest of the way over here to this parking lot, and we'll just leave it there, and it'll be fine because one's going to steal a golf cart without it's Tybee. And so he's pissed the next day. Who stole my goddamn golf? It's on Facebook. He's ranting. And she and I made a pact. We're not telling nobody. So nobody knows. I mean, I'm talking a couple years go by. Like I'm a suspect in this, but like not because I'd never done it before, really. And he was like, wouldn't have been Clint. So like, but because like he was cornered for an hour, so a lot of people come in and out. And so like I don't like. Vinny asked me, he's like, "Did you steal his golf cart?" I'm like, "No, what golf cart?" Like I didn't tell Vinny for like almost a year, and whenever we got drunk, I was like, "It was me." But then like, not to be outdone, like 3 weeks later, I think he fired somebody from the grill, and they stole his golf cart and drove it onto the beach, and like got it stuck in the sand and left it out there.
The night that he fired them, they were like,
I think it was like that night or like the next night. Somebody took his golf cart and drove it up the ramp onto the beach and got stuck on the beach.
"Oh my God."
That thing got stolen, borrowed so many times. Because Vinny would like, when Vinny was young and single, he'd just leave Huckapoos, go by the house and take the golf cart.
You know what's pretty easy to do? Take the keys out and put them in your pocket.
Incredibly easy to take the keys out of a golf cart and not get it jacked. Like, pro tip there.
Yeah.
I don't know, but he was a good sport about it in the end. I think I told him about 3 or 4 years ago. He was having a bad day, and I was like, I'm going to solve a mystery of life for you, son.
You know what? I got a gift for you today.
Yeah.
Something you've been wondering for.
And I think when it was over, he was like, "I'm done, son." His famous line, and when he's out, he would say it more than once. But
and that was on the postcard or whatever. I was like, that is so fit.
because he would not only would he say that at the bar, he would oftentimes put it on Facebook, "Done, son." So you could go, "Oh, Vince went to bed at 11:30 last night, or at 2:30 last night."
Yeah.
You kind of you have to keep tabs on him. You know where he's at.
Yeah. So speaking of golf carts, and
There's a good Vince Patreon story Vinny told on. Let's figure out what episode that is because there's a good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was a VCR.
So there was a time when I worked Tuesday nights by myself sometimes, and it would be like winter, and I would close pretty early, and Vince would hang out.
Yeah.
As I was closing, and I didn't mind him because if it's just him chilling, and me closing, it's fun banter or whatever.
I have so many good memories of winter nights. Like me and Vince and you at the bar. It's like 3 or 4 of us.
If there's just
now there's too many damn people.
Yeah.
That feel entitled.
So more than a handful of times, I would get off early enough to go to like the Quarter or something like that and go have a drink, whatever.
Especially in the winter, because the Quarter, no matter what,
they're open until 2:45, no matter what. So some of my most fond memories of Vince is we would get in his golf cart and we would drive as slowly as possible from, destination A to B, because we would sit in there shooting the shit. He knew which roads to drive.
Because if you're not familiar with Tybee, if you're in a golf cart and it has to have like certain things to be able to drive straight down the highway.
Yeah.
If it doesn't have those things, it has to go a certain speed with seat belts, all kinds of lights and stuff. You have to get a special permit for it to drive it on the highway. Otherwise, you can cross the highway at certain places.
Yeah.
But so it takes a little longer to get across the island in Vince's old golf cart than like say one of the more newer ones that go 50 miles an hour.
But taking the back roads are so much more fun.
It is fun,
So
and you're also kind of avoiding the law.
Yeah, exactly. But
and golf carts are quiet,
Well, the thing was too, like anytime I was in that golf cart with him and we were driving slowly with beers and the thing, I was like, I literally had no fear because
it's weird.
If the cops did come around, they'd be like, Vince, what are you doing?
If you're not from Vince lived about, I don't know, 150 feet from the police station.
Yeah.
And so like back in like the mid 2000s and like even 2010s, there was a little more leeway given, especially to the locals, especially in the off season.
Sure. Yeah.
No.
Well, and the roads that we would travel were kind of like, back road, dirt roads, whatever. And I cherish those moments because that was the annoyance of people being around you at the bar would sort of spark his like orneriness, you know what I mean? Because he would just snap off at people because they wouldn't leave him alone or whatever, But just he and I riding in this golf cart together, it was such a pleasant, formative time. And I think, I'm not going to speak for him, but in those moments, it was like, not that we didn't want it to end, but we wanted to make that trip between bar to bar as long as possible, because when you walk into the next bar, the camaraderie of you two is now split into 25 different things. Now it's got to spread around.
And God, just there's a nice long ride sometimes. You just go take your time.
I love that
chilling. No radio, just talking.
So at the service, a buddy of ours, Alstead, it was his birthday.
Yeah.
So he was like,
and props to him for not trying to co-opt any of that attention by saying, I didn't know until Saturday. And he's not that kind of guy.
No, not.
He's not one of those grief co-opting douchebags.
No, not at all. And he was like, the way he told me it was his birthday, he was like, you know what? This might be actually better. This many people wouldn't have showed up to my dumb fucking birthday, whatever, right?
I know.
So then I was like, you know what Vince would say right now? That's the last thing I'm doing for you. I was like, not too soon. It's funny. It's not disrespectful.
And that's what the family would want. Yeah, we told stories about Vince all night. You remember the good times. We also, there's also bad times, but okay, there's bad times lead to recovery, to reconciliation.
Yes.
And you're like, because like Vinny said, he loved to annoy the hell out of you, but he loved the hell out of you too.
And a lot of times I tell my friends, if I'm not breaking your balls, and then I don't really like or love you. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. And that was kind of that's part of his thing.
Real quick, I just got one more, a little one about Vince. I've
got so many that I cannot tell on a platonic podcast.
Yeah. We'll wait for the Patreon. But there was a time where I drank beer pretty exclusively, especially when I was at work. I just drank beer a lot, whatever. I quit drinking beer so much whenever I joined a touring band that played all the time, because if I drink 3 beers and sit on a drum throne,
it's peak time. I'm over here. Look, I don't drink a lot of beer. I mean, this is maybe the 6th beer I've had this year.
Yeah,
and I gotta pee.
I gotta pee all the time, and I'm literally sitting on my bladder. So I drank a lot of beer then, and I have a pretty iron constitution when it comes to alcohol. I can drink a lot.
We're from Tybee. We can.
So
people think they can drink a lot. They come out here and they're like, oh, God.
They're like, oh, wait a minute. I was mistaken.
Especially with liquor, with the 20-ounce stiff cups. You go downtown, you have a cup you can't put with 3 of your fingers.
They give you a thimble downtown.
Yeah, it's a double shot glass. I'm like, that's cute.
So
and it's $12.
Vince and I were bullshitting, and he was like, I could drink more beer than you easily. I don't know how we got on this, and I was like, oh man, I could drink just as much beer as you. So we made a bet. We were like, we're gonna drink a case of beer each in 1 hour.
Oh.
Right? I was like, I felt confident. He sat there that night that we made the bet. We were going to do it like next week or something like that. he put down, man, and it was the Vortex Miller Lite bottles too. He's doing like he's doing circus tricks. He would like whip it around.
Is that more like than the gallon milk challenge? Is a case of beer more than a gallon?
Oh, I don't know. We were just
right?
saying like
Right,
doing.
12, I think it's got 144.
It would be like about two. It would be about a beer every 2 minutes or so to get it done in an hour.
Yeah.
He probably put down 15 in the next 15 minutes, and I never mentioned it to him again because I was like, I am not challenging.
He's gonna forget this.
Yeah,
He was Shane Gillis over here.
I am not going to challenge this dude because he, like I said, he was doing circus tricks. He would even take it to the point where it was like he would hold it so high above his head that every last one of the foamy bits came out, and he goes, "Still think you can win?
Now you're done, son.
Now you are done, son." And I think we're done, son.
We are.
With this.
We'll always talk about Vince, but we're gonna take a break because again, got a potty and come back to Super Bowl talk.
Super Bowl talk,
Prop bets, a
bets,
little Karen Darren-y. Nothing extreme.
Nothing extreme. Yeah.
Mine's was more of a you douchebag.
Yeah, and we get to sort of review you and
Travis's prop bets, which I have right here, completely filled out, all to them. But
Nice.
I remember what I did.
Spoiler alert, I didn't do well on that. So we will see y'all in the second half.
Ever wanted to start a podcast? Don't have the equipment or the know-how? Well, we've got you covered. From Behind the Barcast is expanding into the commercial studio space. You see, step one is making sure you sound great, because no matter how good your content may be, people don't want to listen to something that sounds like this. From Behind the Barcast and Paxton Eugene Productions now offer in-studio audio and video production. Or the studio can come to you. We offer mobile podcast production from wherever you are. Now, with the hard part out of the way, there's no excuse for you not to get started. So if you're in the Savannah area, shoot us an email at FromBehindTheBarcast@gmail.com for details and a quote. Again, that's FromBehindTheBarcast@gmail.com, and let's get your voice heard.
We're back.
That's a nice sound.
Now doubling my intake of beer for the year.
Cheers. Queer.
Cheers. Hey, so yeah, thank you for tuning into our first half of Vince Talk with Paxton Mahomes and Clint King over here. But
I thought it was great though.
it was.
The
Well, we got some good stuff out there. Didn't fully cry, just teared up a bunch. But also this weekend was a little known event. It's called the Super Bowl.
the Super Owl.
Bowel. Some people had some super bowels today. If they came to Huckapoo's and imbibed in the hot dog bar with 50, it was advertised as 58 toppings. But as I called out Heather Thomas, the owner of Huckapoo's, it was 57 because there was no ketchup on the table at first. And I know ketchup doesn't go on hot dogs technically, but shout out to our boy Rob. His girl Cindy was like, "Where's the ketchup at?" He's like, "Ketchup doesn't go on hot dogs." I'm like, but there should be ketchup out. There was tartar sauce out there.
But the option should be there. Well, it turns out there was a 64-ounce ketchup in the back, which we had to go find to put out there.
I mean, I don't.
It was actually brought to me.
But I've always thought that's like ketchup, mustard, relish.
Yeah, well, especially in the U.S., like ketchup on hot dogs, it's kind of
Some
like,
people hate on it. I don't care either way. But put what you want on your damn hot dog. I don't care.
yeah, I'm no
I
hot
don't-
dog Nazi or anything.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that, yeah.
But Heather was like, "Oh, no ketchup," and brought it out to me on like a tray with like a little napkin. I was like, "Here you go, sir."
The towel over
Yeah,
the arm.
the 2023 Heinz, sir. And then that bottle sat there on the bar. Like 4 people were like, "Where's the ketchup?" I'm like, "I have my own bottle right here. Like to use the VIP ketchup."
I told Rob Kissabeth, I was like, "Would you like me to rim your cup with a little bit of a ketchup and maybe some Old Bay? We'll make it a Caesar."
So did you eat hot dogs?
I did not eat one single hot dog.
So I went. I took a picture of Winky's and posted it because it looked way better than mine because it had like Funyuns and everything. His was a madhouse. So I get in line and I have all these grand plans in my head, and then there's this poor, I don't know, 5 to 8 year old girl next to me in front of me in line, and she doesn't know what to do. So like I get past where you get the tray and the bun, and she's like, I was like, "Do you need help, young lady?" And she's like, "Yeah, where's the thing?" So I was like, "Where's your owner?" And she was like, "Huh?" I was like, "I'm sorry. Where are your parents, child?" And so I'm like, "I'll help this girl make a hot dog."
Yeah.
So that kind of slows down my process and made me kind of just, I was like, I don't like kids very much. So I was like, I'm going to get out of here.
Yeah.
But like I helped her. So I always went cheese sauce, And as I mentioned last week and maybe the week before, SpaghettiOs. God damn, it was good. However, there was also no knives, so I used a spoon to cut my hot dog up because you can't pick up SpaghettiO hot dog with cheese on it. It's not happening.
Most of the dogs that I saw were so loaded with things that they're not hand dogs.
And then I did the other one with cheese sauce, pickles, mustard,
yeah,
and I don't know, maybe something else. But
Heather walked through the kitchen,
I had a classic too.
or walked through the back, and she came out to the outhouse bar, and she goes, "Whose two hot dogs are right there on the freezer?" I was like, "Oh, they're not mine." She's like, "Oh, thank God. If anyone ate that, they would die." It was the Barback Danny's. I don't know what the toppings on it were, but
It was like some of them were like I double trade mine. Some of them I was like, you need four their little cafeteria containers because there was a lot of toppings.
So Wink, especially,
Because all the toppings you can put on pizza are out there,
yeah,
plus a plethora of other dips and stuff people have brought, and it was a lot.
macaroni and cheese,
Funyuns.
yeah.
I said, yeah. There's like croutons. I think a whole fish,
Yeah.
deboned, sardines,
A whole halibut.
just strips of
Seawolf?
strips of steak.
But the thing was, so this was the least attended Super Bowl that I've worked at Huckapoo's.
When I walked up on the porch, it was just a guy, like there's like 5 people on the porch. I was like, whoa! And then it filled up. There were a lot of kids.
Yeah, it filled up once the game became closer to starting, but the hot dog bar was the least utilized I've ever seen.
I know I should have taken some with me, but we went to Danny's house and there was all kinds of simple thrown together food like venison poppers.
Listen to this shit. He goes,
so Danny, my closest friend that's an Eagles fan, calls me an hour and 8 minutes before the game starts. Like, you coming over? I'm like, didn't know this was happening. I assumed he'd be having people over, and I was like, well, what are you cooking? He goes, I just threw a couple things together. Nothing, pretty simple. All right, simple thing number one: coffee rubbed and seared duck breast that he shot and killed himself, and
okay.
coffee seasoned duck breasts seared in the pan that he shot and killed himself.
Venison
Poppers so it's cream cheese and venison smoked on his pellet smoker. A bushel of Virginia Select single oysters. A charcuterie board this big, like a 2.5 by 2.5 charcuterie board.
Just thrown together.
Then
Thrown together.
I was like, and Winky and I are looking at it. I'm like, what's that green sauce? She goes, it's ranch. I just put green food coloring in it. Because they're Eagles fans, so you eagled it up. But yeah, just a simple thrown together meal that took 8 hours.
So when
prep.
you showed me the duck and when you showed me all this stuff, I was like, oh yeah, throw them together. You got to smoke it on the smoke, and sous vide and all this shit. That charcuterie board
was massive.
It was frightening. I nearly fainted. I was like, who makes cutting boards
I ate
that big?
3 hot dogs and got over there and was like, who's got a weed pen? I need to get hungry again. And then ate and watched the end of the game. And look, while we're on the end of the game, look. One penalty does not make a game usually. When you're beating the crap out of a team, you let them back in the game. There's a lot of reasons you lose a game. It's never one particular thing. Things have led up to you getting the game being close. It does suck when a penalty seems to affect the outcome of the game. Look, every week the penalty affects the outcome of the game, not called or called. Every team every week has got a gripe. I get it. Don't harp on that. Don't fumble the ball. That's what lost you the game. Was that Jalen Hurts fumble?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what kind of lost you. Or there was a lot of plays that happened that contribute to the end of a game, and not just what. Granted, the penalty was a little ticky tacky. Technically, by the rule, the book was a penalty, but just a hair.
Well, there was sort of a disparity because second, third play of the game was a definite targeting
And not called at all.
and not called at all. So then, and obviously the NFL will say they don't do makeup calls, but a little later on, I started seeing some like
And
makeup calls.
you get 2 for a non-targeting call, I think.
But it was the least penalized from what I saw Super Bowl game.
Yeah. So, and in Super Bowl games, you do prop bets. We discussed this last week on Travis's Hot Grits podcast. Check out Hot Grits episode 149. It was on last week, and we discussed some prop bets. We're not going to go through all 20 of these because Eric guilted me into doing one. He was like, prop bet thing. I was like, he's like, it's $5. I was like, I don't know. He's like, you don't have $5, and I was like, if it was 7, I'm out. And I didn't win, so thanks, Eric.
Yeah.
Or maybe I did. And I don't know. We don't know who won.
I don't know.
So
Wasn't me.
one of everyone's favorite ones is the over/under on the national anthem.
Yes.
Which is 121.5 seconds. So 122 seconds, basically. So that's, for those of you that are really good at math, that's 2 minutes and 2 seconds. So the official time, I think, was 2 minutes and 3 seconds. And this one was like listed, it changed, like, the lines changed the day of the game. After his warm up performance or whatever, Chris Stapleton sings and does it in 2 minutes and like 1.8 seconds or something. It was just under.
Yeah.
Just under. And like everyone's like, yes, no, wait, no one timed it. Like everybody at the bar was like wondering, so I had to look it up on Twitter.
I was watching and I was like, I'm sure someone's timing this thing. But I had advised everyone to go with the under because,
As I said last week on the podcast.
Yeah,
it's a male country singer.
yeah, so he's going to do the respect thing. Like, I'm just singing
Yeah.
the national anthem. But then when I got scared, he goes, when the rock is red.
I've never seen so many A's and R's in a glare in my life.
And I didn't know that he was going to be playing guitar while he did it because
I didn't either. That slows you down.
that slows you down because if you're playing with a pre-recorded orchestral track or an actual orchestra,
You're on somebody else's timing. Not
you're
your own.
on their time.
But you can time yourself that. So that was the under. The coin toss was tails. I had heads.
I had heads. All right, but before you continue, because this is the only part that I'm going to talk about of the prop bets, my first 8 prop bets, my first 8 picks were wrong.
Yeah, so tails has a slight edge over Super Bowl history, 29-27 tails. The 7 of the last 10 national anthems have gone over the 2-minute mark. So they're over cashing in 6 times over that span. And then, the kickoff.
Oh, so I got that right. I got the under on the.
Yeah.
That was it.
And so like touchbacks, all that stuff, there's who scores first turnover of the game, first accepted penalty, first going to get 10 points. And what song will be performed first at the halftime show? I still don't know what it was because we left. And like, I used to love some of the halftime shows, but unless I'm like super interested in the artist, I don't hate on Rihanna at all. She's just not my flavor of music. She's a great musician.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what the first song was. And then this one I thought was pretty easy. How many songs will be performed? 9.5. All right, first off, every song's a 0.5.
Yeah.
So there's if that. And so
9.5?
I can't imagine she did 10 songs. I have no idea.
Well, see, I'm just saying, like,
So-
the metric is whether they play the whole song or not, they count it as a song.
Right.
So
Yeah.
here's something that may be controversial now. Will anyone accompany Rihanna on stage to perform a song with her? No other musical artists came on that stage, but apparently she's with child. So, maybe there was a little beat going on in there. I don't know. Yeah.
Apparently,
Dun, dun, dun,
her
dun.
unborn child made it to the Super Bowl faster than the Dallas Cowboys. I saw
Dallas
that.
Cowboys have been into 5 Super Bowls.
No, I saw that.
Then
meme
Dak Prescott?
somewhere. Maybe, yeah.
Dak Prescott. There's a whole bunch of those.
I'm sure
there's a ton of
million
those.
Yeah.
But and there was a lot of the fun ones. What color will the liquid be poured on the winning head coach? On this particular thing, this list we have here, first one's lime green yellow. That's one selection. Then clear water, red, pink, blue, orange, purple. I went lime green yellow. I don't know what it was, but like
I went orange.
I didn't even see it.
Yeah.
I was looking for it. I didn't see anything.
Andy Reid seems like the type of guy that would be like, if you dump that water on me.
You got to get it in the Super Bowl, son.
Oh, yeah, no, I know.
Yeah. So, but it was a good game. It was close. It was fun. I enjoy it. It's nice not having to be a fan of either team. Like, I don't like the Eagles at all, so I was cheering for the Chiefs, and they chop and chant, so you got me. I didn't get any chop-tonitis last night, though.
Yeah.
I only chopped a few times.
I was secretly pulling for the Chiefs because there's just
The Eagles already won. I want to hear their nonsense all year long. But it's funny. My homeboy Jason, diehard Cowboys fan from Dallas, Texas. Somehow, during the game, he's hating on the Chiefs, or on the Eagles. He's cheering for the Chiefs. If they score, he's cheering. We're high-fiving. We get over to Danny and Danielle's house, and about halfway through the fourth quarter, he's now cheering for the Eagles because he's holding sweet little 3.5-year-old Davin. He's now cheering. I heard, I was like, what are you doing?
he's now Bobo because Bobo will cheer for any team if they give him if someone gives him a jersey.
Yeah. So, but a good game, good times, good food.
Well, we've talked about this guy.
I took a super bowel today, though.
We've talked about this guy, the Screaming Eagle, a couple weeks ago.
He was there, wasn't he?
He walked in, and I was like, Never saw him again. I guess he went inside. I never heard him.
I saw him one time. I didn't hear him any.
I also saw a guy in full San Francisco 49ers.
With like the hat, the fire hat and everything. And I was
like, all right, okay. I saw someone else in, I forget what jersey, but
I wore a Cowboy shirt under my hoodie. I thought it wouldn't be
Nice,
shown.
yeah.
But like, and I even toyed with that. I was like, do I do this? But like, a jersey is a bold move to wear someone's jersey to the game they're not playing in.
Yeah.
Like,
What's the flex there?
I guess you think you should have been there. I don't know. I didn't see anybody in a Dolphins jersey. That's for damn sure.
So it was a much better turnout because you guys showed up, you and Robin Sidney and all them. So it was like super fun, and some employees were there. I'm never that cold, I run hot. I was out there.
It was windy too.
I was freezing out there.
Yeah, it was. But it was nice. We went to halftime, went over there, and then it was nice.
Yeah.
It wasn't, and I asked you. You said it kind of filled almost all the way back up, which is good. But some bars apparently on this island were completely empty because people. Super Bowl is while it's a decent day at a bar, it's not. There's a lot of people that have parties, especially when there's a lot of people. Like there's way more Eagles fans on this damn planet than there are Chiefs fans. It's just what it is. Sorry, Chiefs fans. That's the truth. Because it's an older team.
Yeah.
It's in a bigger city.
Yeah.
It's so there's people having parties.
Yeah.
That are Eagles fans and stuff like Danielle did. Ron had people over. People have people over that are fans of the team, and there's not a lot of Chiefs fans. I mean, I know three, maybe Ash.
Well, Eric Thomas is a Chiefs fan, but normally the Super Bowl.
But he's also a Falcons fan.
Yeah, well, yeah, he just likes teams that are underdogs at first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then once they get good, he's like, all right, now I'm done with them. Let me pick the Jaguars now to be my secondary team, whatever. Yeah. Whatever.
Look, I was happy the Chiefs went when the first time they went. I was definitely cheering for them.
I was just glad I was able to watch a little bit of the game.
Yeah, the sound was great. You could hear everything. Commercials not all that great. Yeah. The best commercial was the Ram commercial. Did you see it was near the end of the game?
No,
it was like we all want to go all. It seemed like it was an erectile dysfunction commercial, and it was like I have erectile dysfunction or something. But I was like watching. I was like, what is this about? Oh, Ram trucks.
All right, so I saw
like Ram Agro or something, or
I
Ram
saw
Alice.
10 Jesus commercials, and I was like,
yeah, who was? All right, who's paying for that?
They don't.
Commercials are not cheap.
I don't know if they have to pay for it.
You have to pay for it. You got to pay for it. It's not free. Now, the question is, do you have to pay taxes on it?
Oh, right, yeah.
Or do the people that are producing the game not to pay taxes on it? But there was a lot of Jesus commercials.
There's a lot of Jesus commercials, and I don't know what the current rate is, but a couple years ago it was $2 million per 30 seconds.
Yeah, which is why something like when Marvel does their trailers, they show a 30-second trailer, and then it's like new trailer online.
Well, then I kept seeing
like a lot of movies do that.
The Gordon Ramsay thing for like Chef something. I was like, oh wait, it's on Fox, so they don't have to have to pay for that.
So there was quite a few Fox things, but it wasn't. I don't remember any outstanding commercials over that Ram one and then the Guardians of the Galaxy.
The one that I did actually get to see was this girl playing flag football, and she like gets away from all these people, finally gets home, and her mother's in the kitchen. She's like, "You look stressed out, baby." She's like, "Yeah, people have been chasing me around to get my flag." All of a sudden, mom jukes around the thing and starts trying to snatch her.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
So my buddy Hockey Joe, patron of ours, one of my favorite people that comes up to the bar because his humor is near the same as mine. A week or two ago, he's sitting at the bar. It's getting not late, but it's like slowing down. And a person from around here that some of us might know, I don't know her really well, but she had pigtails on, and she sits down next to Joe, and without saying, "Hey, how are you?" or whatever, she immediately starts rambling into like her entire life story. And Joe's a very nice guy, affable, and he's like, "Oh, cool. So yeah, you moved back from Charlotte 20 years ago. Well, has anything happened since then?" Oh, you have a couple kids. That's cool. Whatever. So which I never do for you, I saw that he was having like a thing, so I pulled him away. I was like, "Hey, will you help me with this keg or something like that?"
I'm really good at getting away, though.
Yeah, on your own. Yeah.
On my own.
But if I see you squirming, I'll let you squirm.
I was talking to somebody at Vince's service. No, it was at Angel and Vince's house, and I do this thing. I'll have my divulge this, but I will. I'll put my hand behind my back and start waving around like this, thinking someone's gonna be like, "What the hell is he doing over there?" And so I'm like angling it at you, angling it at V.
So I didn't even notice it, but yeah,
because it was dark out there and my hand was kind of low. But I'm trying to like get out of this conversation to somebody who's hammered drunk, and I don't want to. I might have mentioned who it was, but I don't want to be in it. Yeah. And I'm trying to be nice, but I'm like, hey, in the crowded area, it's a little harder to get away because there's like nowhere to get out and go. Yeah. And finally, I was like, I gotta pee, and just walked off. I went like upstairs to get away.
Did you ever play volleyball or something? Because you know how the person in the front, they
my father was a volleyball coach.
They flap their hands behind their back to give the signals for. Well, anyway, so So the girl had the pigtails that was, talking Joe's ears off like a week or two ago. So he walks in. Our buddy Devo's there. He had just gotten a fresh pigtail braid.
Yeah, I called him Devo Leia.
He looks over. He goes, Paxton, I thought that, you see the dude with the pigtails? I thought that was the lady from last week.
Her mustache grew really fast. He's got a very long, thick mustache.
Then another walks up. Female this time. Same braids. He goes, Paxton, if that's her, I have to leave right now.
She doesn't really sound like this, but she could have been quite the...
Oh, shit. It's the Karen.
So glad I hit the right
week.
button.
I saw
It's the Karen of the week.
Oh, shit. Right here.
Oh, shit.
All right. Let's Karen this thing right off. Here's the thing. I've got a Karen, and then I've got a story that's not really a Karen, but it's just a bad dining person. So I'll do mine, and then we can go to you and come back. So this table sits down outside the restaurant I used to work at 5 years ago. Not at all did not happen last week, and I'm not in the best mood because my best friend's father passed away again years ago. And I just wasn't in a good mood. I should have taken that off, but I didn't. I needed to work anyway. So I'm testy with people a little bit, as you can be when you got a lot going on in your mind. And this table sits down like, great, we're going to sit here at your outside table. And I'm like, damn it, outside tables are jumping. The afternoon's nice. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, well, but we're having dinner, so we'll move into your section. I'm like, cool. They're nice. I get them drinks that are kind of special. They love everything about me. I even bring them an appetizer outside. They get a little snack, and we're just going to bring the check inside. They're sweet. They're fun. So the three ladies go inside. One guy stays outside to make a phone call at the table, and I'm kind of like, can you get up so I can put someone else at this table? And so finally, he kind of sees that I keep coming out there taking everything off the table. He says, oh, do you want me to move? Yeah. So he goes off to this phone call. I go in there, I get him water, I get him another round of drinks, and after about 30 minutes, I'm like, y'all want to get a snack? Like, oh, he'll be back. He'll be right back. And I'm like, I get busy. So I'm not ignoring them, but you've had 45 minutes almost at this point to order. And it sucks that he was gone, but you could have done a lot of things to rectify this. So as soon as they're ready to order, they're like, sir. I'm like, I'm taking care of everybody else to get stationary first because y'all, while you've been nice, they've been needy. And so I know this order is going to be a little complicated.
And your period of time of my attention, has already ran out.
And let me just set the tone for this Karen's apparel. She's got the haircut about like this. It's dyed, but she dyed hers like a brownish blonde color. She's got on a lesbian puffy vest, flannel shirt under it, jeans, no ass. I only saw when she got up to leave. And like
I love that you look.
Boat shoes.
Does she at least have an ass?
Because she got up and I was like standing right there. I was like, oh, God, look.
Even worse.
Yeah, so I'm like, all right, whatever. I didn't profile her initially because she had been pretty cool, but once the Karen came out, I was like, oh, here's all the things. So she orders an appetizer. There's another appetizer on the menu that has one of the same words in it. I don't want to. It's crab or blue crab, and another one has blue chips. So the word blue is in there.
Okay.
She orders this dish. There's been a misunderstanding before with other tables, so I repeat it clearer than I ever talk 3 times. I make a point to do that with any restaurant I work at, just to clarify.
Yes.
This is what you want. I point at it on the menu.
Yeah.
The guy there is like, yeah, dude, you got it. It comes out. Where's the rest of this item? This is the whole thing. Well, I wanted this. I'm like, ma'am, I specifically clarified multiple times that you said this. And again, usually I'm like, oh, my bad, I'll get it for you. But I'm not in a good mood. Okay? I'm testy and I'm busy.
And homeboy goes, yeah, you got it.
So she is like, she's mad. Everything else comes out. They seem to enjoy. And I don't. After that, I'm still very nice to them. I'm doing anything I can to help. Hey, do you want a little extra sauce for this? You want all this? I'm going out of my way to kind of repair the fact that I was being kind of a dick.
Sure. Yeah.
Turns out it was deserved. So, guy, they split the check. I go to the guy first because I'm thinking he's going to give me a nice tip, and she might not. He tips me 22%. Sweet. Turn to OK Dog over here. Custom tip. It was 12% on 120. So I think I'm coming out of this with $25 at least. And I'm like, damn. All right, Karen. That's cool. She goes, can I get a receipt too? And I was like, sure can. Print. I'll be right back with it. No, I won't. I'm holding this receipt hostage. I don't need to turn to this table again because it's like late. They've been there so damn long. And they've been in my restaurant for almost 3 hours. It's not a place you're at for 3 hours. Again, 4 years ago, not any time recently. And so she finally she's like, "Where's my receipt?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's right here. I circled my name on there if if you guys do on a review kind of things." Because I'm like, I'm daring you. I'm daring Karen. And so they get up to walk off. That's when I noticed the full apparel. She's still at table. Guy walks by. I'm like, buy another table. And he goes, "Hey, man, I heard you repeat that to her 3 times. That's definitely what she ordered, and you got it right." And I'm like, yes. But let's make it a little bit better because homegirl was walking up while he's telling me. She hears him, proceeds to get mad at him and like smack him a couple times on the back, and turns to me and goes, "Thank you so much for the great service. You were awesome." Then why the 12%, Karen? But also, at that point, I'm like, don't care about the money. You got served by your own person. I served you professionally,
Yes.
and then also by telling you order this thing, and then he served you up just right. And that literally took my night from like a D- to a B+.
Dude. And you're like, could I get you a free appetizer, sir? Let me.
Anything you want. You want a hand job? I got you, buddy. So it was kismet. It was nice. I was like, thank you.
Oh my God, that I'm glad I didn't hear this, Karen, before. But,
I almost told you last night. I was like, I'm not telling you anything.
but her walking away and overhearing this gentleman, because I've definitely had the experience of someone going, "Yeah, I heard you ask them like 4 times if they were
Yeah,
sure."
and then you're like, I know, because there are certain things certain people you're specific because you know that one if they're like your bar often drunk
Yeah.
and mine dumb, and so you just want to be like, hey, this is exactly what you want, and like steak temperatures, medium rare,
Yeah.
better be a warm red center. I tell them what it looks like, what it's going to be, so when it comes out, this is not medium rare. I described medium rare
Yeah.
to you, so you knew even though if your medium rare is something different.
Yeah.
I told you what ours was.
I
gonna
told you,
be.
yeah.
That way, it just avoids problems later.
Yeah, at Pooh's, so
Chicken, medium rare.
we have the carnivore, the herbivore, and the omnivore. Now, I'm not begrudging.
That's quite a vortex.
Ew. I'm not begrudging anyone for not knowing the difference between an omnivore, a herbivore, and a carnivore. You learned that in like 6th grade. It's been a long time since you've been in 6th grade.
Sure.
I'm just not begrudging them for that, especially if they're drunk or whatever. So
Yeah.
that's a same thing. That's a point of confusion. They kind of all look the same. So they'll go, and Southern people can't put the R in carnivore. They go, "I want a carnivore."
Southern people?
Southern people.
You said it in a northern accent. A carnivore.
Well, yeah, carnivore.
Canada.
Carnivore.
Carnivore.
So they order those, and I'll be like, "Carnivore, the one with all the meats." They're like, "No, the one with all the meats and vegetables." I'm like, the omnivore. Bring them the omnivore. They're like, "No, I wanted the one with all the meats." I'm like,
We've been over this.
plus, well, I was just,
And it describes also what's on it.
yeah, well,
the menu.
yeah. On the menu, carnivore says meats.
You have the meats.
We've got the meats.
But it goes to the same thing. There's certain things that people order that could be confused with something else.
And some people just look at something and their muscle memory goes, oh, it's just this. And they're reading what they want to read, not what is actually on the paper. And it happens. Not everybody is as well good at reading.
The Derek Schoolander of reading. Kids who don't
the
read.
Darren Karen Lander School of Reading. So you have a Karen, Darren, or otherwise?
Yeah, so I have a Darren, but it's non-restaurant related because the past couple weeks or the past week or so, it's been so slow. There's not a lot of Darrens.
And you're not me. You're not poking them. I'm not to poke anymore. It's happening.
I mean, I poke sometimes. So I go to the post office the other day. We ordered a cable so that we didn't have to.
Yes, if you're wondering why last week's YouTube's not up, it's because there was not a sound sync on the second half. It's bad, and we couldn't.
It's bad, yeah. So it has
been a week. Sorry, it's a hell of a week.
It was a hell of a week.
Yeah.
So go to the post office to pick it up, and I see a business card on the ground. My PO box is almost right when you walk in the door. So I saw this business card on the ground. The business card said, "We'll work for food." An Amazon Kindle book by Raymond Story. I picked it up. I was like, oh, someone must have dropped it. As I look up, there's one of these cards stuck on almost every one of the P.O. boxes. There's also about 10 more on the ground. I was like, it should be called Will Litter for Food. This guy,
I wasn't taking him an hour.
and there's cameras in there.
I'm wondering. You know what he did? He had to come in when it was closed, because otherwise, I think somebody working there was like, "Hey, you've been in there a while,
Yeah, what are you? Yeah.
and you're littering." They put
So-
in flyers in people's car. Look, most of the time they go on the ground. 9 out of 10 times. You don't see as many flyers as you used to, though.
No, because no one's promoting rave parties like they used
Bro,
to.
I remember going to raves. You'd come out, there'd be like 12 flyers in windshield, and like you would like, oh, this one looks so cool. I made a collage on my wall at my house when I was like 17, 16.
Okay, we all did. Yeah.
But I made one where like everything fit together.
Yeah,
There was no
yeah.
space between them. So I spent all the time like putting the ones
Yeah.
I'd gone to, the ones I would probably claim I went to
Yeah.
or something, and have them
Yeah.
all up there, and was like, and then years later, I was like, I went back. I got rid of all my flyers except for like probably 60. I kept all the parties
Yeah.
I went to, but going back through them, there'd be like, this sad little piece of paper that someone printed, six on one sheet and cut them
I was
out.
going to say most of the ones that you got back then, especially in the early or the late 90s, early rave days that I was around, it was the 11 by 16 piece of paper cut into.
Yeah,
4
or
to 6
but like
pieces.
Electric Daisy Carnival be high gloss,
Yeah.
giant one, and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
pretty and stuff, and trippy looking. You're like, oh yeah,
But I've turned to the point where if I didn't attend the show, I don't. I mean, I have posters from shit that I didn't go to, but I don't hang anything up that I didn't
yeah.
didn't
That's
actually attend.
So how many of those cards do you have now that you've read this book 20 times?
So I did leave a video. I took a video of all the littering, and I put it as a review on his Amazon. I also reviewed.
The thing is, the Amazon reviews take a few days.
It's
Yeah.
been taking a while because I put mine for Barbara's tip finance.
Mine
on
took
there.
5 days
Yours took 5 days.
because you didn't buy. So the thing is, she sent us the book. So because we didn't buy it,
because we didn't buy it.
so they
yeah.
make sure that people aren't getting spammed with good or bad reviews.
Right.
So
yeah,
your
yeah.
review may not get posted
right
for this guy, but you know what you can do? Give it to me and I'll do it too.
I
We'll,
like
we'll,
it.
we'll
I
spam
like
him
it.
back.
Yeah,
He wants to
yeah.
spam the damn post
Yeah.
office. And like, what a weird place. I get it. Everyone's going to the post office, but some of those boxes don't get opened up. Some people don't check their mail but once every
Yeah, but
3
it's
weeks.
not even in the box. It's just
Kind of shoved in there because
It's kinda-
he didn't want to spend the money to get it shipped.
exactly. Yeah.
It has 7 reviews on Amazon now. So if you want to,
So
if you guys having a little good time,
speaking of online presence, I made a little YouTube short. There's this YouTube channel called Walter's World, and they do travel information. He's done like Reykjavik, Iceland, all over the place. But he did one about Savannah, and most of the video was these really good points about like not driving slow through the squares. Like it was
thank you.
a lot of
Jesus.
really great information. But he
Some people
got
are faithful to. You just got to go work on time, and you get behind a guy from Idaho who doesn't know how to pull over and find out where he's going. He wants to just slowly look around.
that's almost verbatim what this guy said. So he's like, people are trying to get to work down there or whatever. Well, so he talks about Tybee for a second. And he says, if you park in one of the reserved parking spots for locals, which I don't know what that means, but I made a joke. I was like, what, my driveway or my grass? So I tagged him in it and he responded. He was like, hey man, I was just talking about, this and that, whatever. I was like, hey, listen, I know it seems out of context. I like your other work.
Yeah.
You made a lot of good points, but I'm a dumb commentary,
Podcaster, yeah.
yeah, podcaster channel with 180 subscribers. You got 980,000 subscribers. And I literally told him, I was like, I was piggybacking content off of your
Yes.
large channel, so
Well, thank you for your help there, Walter. Wolter, right? Walter?
WOLTERS.
Walter.
Yeah.
Which is how people in the South say Walter.
Walter, yeah. So I'm going to
Walter.
try and get in touch with him a little more and be like, hey, man, like, yeah, sorry for the misunderstanding, but
That was
it was,
bullshit.
So
but
you-
it,
you
but
did-
it, but
did
it
you-
was funny.
I got to go back. This is kind of a Karen Darren move here.
Sure.
Did you watch the halftime show? Rihanna's like suspended above the thing.
I watched a good amount of it, yeah.
Just thank God it was in a stadium with a closed roof because apparently Chris Brown was trying to fly in on one of those giant fan things with Kanye West on his back and to hit Rihanna in the face and say, I was going to let you finish. But Kanye West is going to do the best halftime show of all time.
I was surprised. I was surprised that there's no guest that came up, right?
Yeah.
And that their zippers didn't work on their jackets. It was only they looked like cholos. All of their jackets were up top. And I lost the prop bet that she would have a guest or whatever.
Yeah.
But my takeaway from the halftime show, like the choreography was great. The dancers were really great.
It
I've
had to be.
I've had goddamn motherfucking umbrella in my head all last
me.
night and today.
Not me, because I didn't hear any of it because I was in the car. And Jason and I weren't watching the halftime show in the car as we drove down the highway.
Oh, that's weird.
You would think,
Why wouldn't you? Yeah.
but no, we didn't.
Yeah, that was the one thing that I actually got to like pay the most attention to.
Prince is still the best one. in
Prince,
history.
easily.
Just because of the rain.
It starts raining during Purple Rain, man.
Stroking that thing, and
Yeah.
they told him not to.
Well, that's the thing. Like, so I've seen people complaining
Wow.
about it online that it wasn't great, it was bad, and then I read through the
Talking
comments
about Rihanna.
about Rihanna,
Yeah.
and like some people are obviously very vehemently defending her, and some are attacking. But I read through some comments today just because I was bored for a few. I was doing something, I don't know. And I read through some comments for a minute. I like to look through the comments when something's kind of spicy with like 80 comments on it,
Yeah.
and it was a bunch of people that were like over the age of 80, like I don't like when they touch their groins or their buttocks. I'm like, you didn't mind when Michael Jackson was doing it to himself, not to others, but to himself.
So
Michael Jackson, the crotch grab was a classic move. Prince.
I understand that, but did they not mention what happened post crotch grab? I looked around to see if anyone else saw this. Rihanna goes like this. She does the Michael Jackson thing
Yeah.
and then brings her hand up to her nose.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, did she just?
Smell her own pussy? Wouldn't you?
Yeah, I guess I would.
If you're
It's
Rihanna.
like
I
armpit.
guess I would.
Yeah. Maybe she's just checking out, make sure things are okay. She's in a hot uniform.
She's like, hey, I've been out here working and sweating here for a
yeah,
little bit.
dressed like Cindy Lou from
Yeah,
from
right.
Dr. Seuss.
Well, good God. Oh,
Guys,
well,
thank you.
Before we get out of here, I was approached by my buddy James Lucas, and he was like, hey, man.
Tom Solomon?
Huh? He goes, hey, man, I'm thinking about running for city council. Do you want to do a couple videos for me? I was like,
Oh,
I was like,
do you want me to? Do you
I
want
was
to
like-
win?
I was like, do you know who I am and who people think I am?
Is he asking Duke or is he
Yeah,
asking?
I was like, do you want it to be serious or funny? He was like, I don't know. You choose. I was like, I am incapable of serious.
Yeah.
And if they see the
I
name,
could be serious.
if
You
they see
can't be.
if they see the name Duke MacArthur on there, they're gonna think it's a joke.
And like, you don't want to. I mean, there's a niche audience for that. There's about 150 voters out here, or probably about 500 voters out here. 150 of them vote.
Right? Yeah.
Remember to vote. And I mean, it could go either way. The election's not. Is there a city council election this November?
I don't know. Yeah.
'Cause, if there is, Duke's coming out of retirement.
Duke will come out of retirement, and I'll have to start a whole new Facebook page because I lost it in my old computer.
Oh.
But I think the world needs Duke a little bit. I think I need Duke a little bit because
Yeah.
I don't even have any problems with necessarily like
I just can't wait for Duke and Karen to duke it out
damn.
because it's going down.
Damn.
Duke versus Karen. It's happening.
That's happening.
More to come later. So, guys, thank you
Yeah,
for
thank you guys
sitting
so
through our
much.
emotional first half. And we said fuck a lot, but we're not doing a fuck count because Vince King would not give a fuck about how many fucks we said.
And that's goddamn right. Thank you guys so much for listening this week. We love you. Please follow us on Instagram. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, it's From Behind the Barcast. If you'd like to leave us a voicemail, anchor.fm/From Behind the Barcast. You can email us at FromBehindTheBarcast@gmail.com. And we would love to hear from you.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day, I guess.
Happy Valentine's Day. I guess you'll be hearing that on that day.
Yeah, on Monday we'll not talk about that as well.
And
We're gonna kick a Patreon out next week. I gotta go.
okay, word. Well,
I'm starving. And those pretzels are making my mouth making me thirsty.
making my
These
mouth
pretzels are making me thirsty.
Making my mouth thirsty. But if you do want to support us on Patreon, it really does help out a lot. Patreon.com/From Behind the Barcast. We love you guys, and we'll see you next week.